Tamika Lewis. Tamika Lewis is someone who lived behind my grandmother. Not my grandmother, my aunt Maddie. Yeah, during that time that I lived around 1100 on Route 31 before it had a big name in DeBerry, Tamika. She used to date a guy that worked at the Marshall Party Reborn. I forgot his name. He was a little yellow boy. But I know that you had a little, I don't know if it was a Lincoln or a Bonneville. I know that I've been shunned by everybody else in East Texas during that time. You know why? Because I know I'd been shunned by everybody else in East Texas. Literally, I borrowed a shirt from my cousin. I was walking up the street, and she was like, "Take that shirt off and give it to me." Literally wanted me to take it off in the street, but I didn't. At least, I think my other cousin was in the car, and that prevented her from making me take it off in the street. And if I ever see you again, bitch, I'm gonna beat your ass. You think I'm kidding? You think that beef that I let it go? If I ever see you again, it's on. And I don't come to Texas. I'm not allowed. But this story is gonna be also about Tamika Lewis and Sheria books. Why about we bring it together? We'll bring them together because two bitches of a feather belong to flock together. So give me a second. See, I was trying to figure out what was bothering me of late. And what was bothering me of late was blaming myself for alcohol related incidents when I was younger. When I was 14, 15, 13 years old. You see, children shouldn't be given alcohol. And children who are calling themselves responsible with a driver's license, they shouldn't be given access to children. Especially broken ones. Tamika Lewis was very broken. Every time I got into her car, I never knew which personality was going to come out of me. Usually it was me. This is Gigi. Usually she had a bottle of hen and I didn't drink. First of all, the biggest problem about not drinking, about being a person that doesn't drink, is when you don't eat. During that problem, I had a serious eating disorder. Okay, my Uncle Harry and my Aunt Maggie didn't really feed me. She was always at work or they were at the casino. So I didn't get any fucking food. So, okay, that happens. And so in the midst of not getting any food, in the midst of all this going on, in the midst of Tamika knowing all this is going on, I really hate that revisionist memory a lot of motherfuckers seem to get with me. You know that revisionist memory, like, oh, you never told me that your dad was touching you. Oh, you never told me this was happening. I know I told you. I screamed it to the universe. I told everybody everything over and over again. You know what people did? They act like they didn't hear me. I screamed it over and over again. I'm being raped by your husband. I'm being screwed by this person. Michael Black just touched me and raped me at his house. You know what happened? Nothing. And so what's coming to fruition today is other personalities in me are seeing things they've never seen before, and they are fucking enraged. Tamika Lewis, you bitch. You evil bitch. You jealous, hateful bitch. Jealous over a child. And she was younger than you. You knew she was a child. You knew she was an innocent. You knew she had as much common sense as a fucking nickel. You knew she trusted so hard that she trusted you, bitch. So when you gave her to your little boyfriend's friend, you gave her to your little boyfriend's friend. That wasn't the only person you gave her to, Tamika Lewis. God has always been watching you, woman. Even the people who were hurting me in my house told me you were evil. And I wouldn't listen. No, I keep getting in your car because I was trying to escape what was going on at my house. I was trying to escape my pain. And you were driving me headlong right into some more bullshit every time. Did you get paid for every time they touched me? Did you get paid for every time you brought me to a man? Did it financially benefit you, bitch? Or did you just do it because you were cruel and you were jealous? I remember going to that little store in Marshall is where everybody got their hair at and stuff. Y'all remember the store? It was over there by the clothes store. It was only 2 of them at Marshall. Believe me, my memory's great. They cost me so much pain. I block it. You go to them little clothes stores, and I used to go, and I remember after graduating, buy me some little toe rings and things like that. They were like maybe 50 cents or something. And Tomeka being jealous in the car, like, I'm not gonna buy that until like when we're gonna go to Juneteenth. And then she never came to take me to Juneteenth, but that doesn't really matter. All that matters is I get it out now, and I figure out now why I'm choosing never to step into the light, to come back to earth, to ever grace my world with this, my fucking presence again. Not this world, not ever. If the world had to depend on me to survive, it would be a dead one. I walk around with an ooze hard. And I guess everybody who's not a nerd, I guess nerds are very limited. But if you've never seen Doctor Who, you might not know what an ood is. But an ood is literally someone who has a brain and their heart's on the string, and they throw it up when they're born, and they hand it to the person in front of them and says, "Please take care of my heart." I begged you all. Bessie, Nellie, nobody remembers, huh? Oh, it's okay. You don't have to remember. You don't have to be tortured by that nonsense. You never ever have to be bothered by it again. You know why? Because that little girl went away. She went so far away that you thought you could forget her, that you thought that the curse would never rise back up and come back to your house. Let me tell you something. Blood calls to blood. Every time you made her bleed, we were there. Her ancestors. Every time you made her bleed, we were there. From Tessa to Helen. From Tina to James, from Bessie to Meg Kenneth. We were there every time you made that child bleed, and my ancestors are screaming now. Because at no point did any of you ever try to figure out why this was happening, or what was happening, or who, what, when, why. No, it was just, that's not my problem. And I think a lot of people are like that. We got our own kids. We got our own stuff going on. That's not my problem. Well, guess what? It becomes your problem later. I shouldn't be anybody's fucking problem. But now I'm everybody's problem. Even mine. Thanks to the time that when I was a child, I needed to be somebody's child. I just needed to be loved. During this beautiful time in my life, Sheria Brooks. At one point I did love you, cousin. At one point, cousin, I loved you. I thought highly of you. But you didn't even realize how broken I was, even though I told you why I was broken. And you became angry at me over a boy named Monty. If you don't remember it, girl, I remember. I can see right into your brain. And that's the sick and gross part. I remember you becoming jealous over that, that mentally bereft man. He was bereft. Monte was bereft. But because you thought I took him from you, you made it your goal to take Lamont from me. I'm happy you enjoyed it. I'm happy you were happy. Oh, you're not still married to him. Yeah, he was a piece of shit. I knew it when I was dating him, but I was willing to deal with shit. But I guess every woman's, every man's trash is not, is somebody else's treasure. So, my first day of school, when I moved to East Texas from Memphis, this is after being shot, after being raped, after the molestation, after being sold as a child, after everything that happened to my soul. One of my first days of school, I went to Carthage Middle School, and the first thing I saw was Sheria Brooks beating the fuck out of Gloria Holland, beating her like she stole money on the steps at the school. Poor Gloria, she barely had no fucking hair. She looked like she was going through so much at home, and Sheria had more than everybody. She had clothes, she had food, she had love. Why the fuck were you beating Gloria? What the fuck did Gloria do to you to make you beat her like a fucking dog? I remember that. The 7th grade. The first thing I ever saw of you, you fucking animal. You fucking beast of a human. I saw you destroy another little girl in front of me. I hope you've lived your life in the glory of God, in the sanctity of God, in his loving cloak. I hope he has his hand upon your shoulder. Because if God ain't holding you close, I can promise you that Asher is going to be holding you tight. I have become unleashed. No one can control me anymore. Those of you who are dreaming about me, and I know you are. I know you're dreaming about me. Whether you want to admit it to anybody or not, you're not crazy. Those dreams aren't you being crazy. Those dreams are the curse that I promised you every time you drew blood from me. Sheria Brooks, I actually thought I'd found Savior in Lamont. Wasn't that stupid? That was the stupidest shit I could ever did. The cruelest thing you could have done, though, was tell a little girl you were her friend and then send me off pregnant to Memphis. Fully pregnant. I wasn't a little pregnant. Oh, no, Sister Leary. Sister Vanessa Leary. I don't know if I brought it up, but she took me for a pregnancy test. She checked me out of school. Took me for a pregnancy test. And then told me I wasn't pregnant. I don't remember getting the results myself from the nurse, but apparently I wasn't pregnant. But I can't blame her for that. When I got older, it started to be very, very difficult to tell the results of a pregnancy test from me. From urinalysis, it was easier to tell by blood because I was so subject to miscarriage. Like, I had 13 miscarriages before I had my daughter, but I blamed that on that late term abortion. My baby was moving when I aborted him. The baby that I had by Lorenzo Lamont Leary, the one I got sent back to Memphis, Tennessee from Carthage, Texas, the boy that I was sneaking out of the window with, that was leaving his watch there, that denied me my first stable home. CL and Nellie were the only stable home I'd ever knew really in my whole life. And those were horrible people. Everybody knows what CL did. And you know what? Not my place to tell it. And he wonders if I'm still angry. If I was still angry, then I'd tell your shit, wouldn't I? I don't tell your business. I tell my business. And you're not part of my business. Except the fact that you decided you weren't part of my business a long time ago. And you allowed Nellie to just kick me out of your life. You don't even know why I didn't live with you anymore. That shit's hilarious when I call you and you're like, I don't remember. I don't remember. Oh, it's so funny. That selective ass memory y'all have. I don't remember why she left. I didn't leave. You kicked me out. And y'all kicked me out because I was sneaking out the house with Lamont, not for any other reason. I wasn't snitching. I wasn't making bad grades. I wasn't lying. I wasn't hoeing. I was in a relationship with a boy that I thought I loved in the church. After being sent from the home that I was being molested in. Oh my God. You guys knew that my dad been molesting me since 8 months. You might have not known how long it had been going on, but you knew that it was happening. Because my dad was honest. My dad was honest with all of you about what he was doing to me. Because he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. He just said, please, one of you take her. Just take her, please. But you know what? Other kids aren't your problem, right? You know, but y'all probably the same people that scream about, oh, abortions that are those unborn babies. That's so terrible. What about my unborn baby that I wanted so bad? Not because of a fucking man, but because it was my baby. Bitch, I'll never forgive you, Vanessa Leary. And Nelly, I love Robert so much that I won't say your name ever again. You'll just be Dorothy number 2. Hi, it's Gigi. I'm a different person. I'm cut from a different cloth than most of the people here. Hi, Dorothy number 2. It's nice to meet you. That's what my Uncle Phil used to call Nelly all the time. He didn't call her number 2, though. He just called her Dorothy by his first wife's name. She took it for a while. I understand that, too, because I took a lot of things. I took D at 3. I wasn't allowed to say the actual word because I get censored now by people who actually love me and this body, who keep me from trying to remember all the things that I hope to forget, but I can't forget them. Why do you think I know your first and last name? Why do you think I know your whole legal name? Lorenzo Lamont Leary. You may not know mine, but nigga, I know yours. Because you wrote a tune upon my soul. A song I'll never forget. A song of pain, a song of tears, a song you've yet to regret. It was a magic spell that I weaved that night with my blood shed all over the walls. You will scream and bludgeon and beg for God, but your God shall never come. Simple, silly rhyme, right? No. That's the curse. That's the curse. You don't have to believe in the curse. So many people have died. So many people have changed. So many people are walking around here in this world right now without souls. I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamer, a dream walker, an astral projector. You don't have to believe in that. But I see you when you're sleeping. I know when you're awake. You know I'm not Santa Claus. I ain't got no motherfucking gifts. All I got is smoke. Just like my oven right now with the corn that's in it and the stripper. I ain't got nothing but smoke for you. I was wondering why I've been so angry. It's because this has been waiting to come out. A girl being drunk is not consent to fuck her. Let me explain it again so I can go all the way back to what I was trying to talk about at first. The first unconsensual sexual encounter with the drunkenness that we remember was Jonathan Gibbs. He didn't have a middle name. Jonathan Gibbs, Carthage, Texas. Look him up. You knew he lived there. Everybody know me and Jonathan dated. Well, you can't really call it dating. You're in 7th grade. Can you date? But Jonathan was the first person that I voluntarily allowed to touch me. And that was weird because the youngest personality, we also have GIG. And I hate saying that to people because they always discount who you are when you tell them I have mental illness. They're like, oh, well, maybe it's just the mental illness that made you that way. Maybe the things that happen are the reasons why the mental illness is here. You feel me? Okay. So, the kid in me fell in love with Jonathan very young. And the kid in me wanted to see what it was like to be touched by someone who was not in my family and who I wanted to touch him. So I ended up having a voluntary pseudo-sexual situation with Jonathan when I was in the 7th grade. Time goes by, move on, we break up. We talk on the phone and stuff like that. That's cool. You know, that's all voluntary stuff. But we get back to high school. Jonathan's in the alternative school. My memory's that good, yes. When I moved back to Texas, Jonathan and I were already in a relationship in Memphis because we've been talking on the phone. But Jonathan was very surprised to see me with Lamont because while that summer was going on, I talked to Jonathan in Memphis, but I didn't talk to him anymore when I came back to Texas. I wasn't allowed to talk to boys on the phone. And so the only person I talked to on the phone, the only person I got to see was Lamont because he was at church. He went to my church. And because he is a vulture of souls, there's another girl named Tasha, I think it's Smith. I was saying Williams at first, but I think it's Smith, that he was messing with in the church, and she was younger than me. He was a 19-year-old senior in high school. I don't know if he graduated when he was 19 or he graduated when he was 20. Either way, it was real stupid for me to date somebody of that stature. But remember, my emotional maturity and my mental maturity were not there at all. But Lamont told me, he wrote me a letter, and while we were at Zion Hill Church of God in Christ, he passed me a letter in the church through his brother, who I should have dated. And that boy is not even going to get a name in this one because that's the one I should have dated. He is happily married now to a beautiful woman. My God, that boy was blessed. And you know, it's actually weird. My uncle and my whole family wanted me to be interested in that boy. And this is not the first time I met that boy. You guys don't know the backstory, but the first time I lived in Texas wasn't with my Aunt Maddie and Uncle Seal. The very first my first time I lived in Texas wasn't with my Uncle Seal and Aunt Nellie. It was with my Aunt Maddie and Uncle Harry, and that was in 7th grade. And that was when my brother was there too. I think he got in a fight with Pookie on the bus. R.I.P. Pookie. I love you, and I love your sister too, and I love that whole family. 1100 forever. I don't. That's not hood. That's just country. 1100's country. If you don't know about it, don't say a word about it, because that's just life. So, yeah, my brother and I, the first time we moved to Texas, we both lived in with my Aunt Maddie and Uncle Harry, and that's before my Uncle Harry touched me. Like when I was that age, when I lived with my Aunt Maddie and Uncle Harry the first time, he treated me just like I was his little girl. He treated me like a little princess. He used to just take me places and like I lay on my Uncle Harry, my head on him, I hug him all the time. Because he treated me just like a little girl the first time I lived there when I was 7. Not 7, but when I was in the 7th grade. And that's the memory I will always carry him, when he treated me like I was a little girl. He loved me like I was a little girl. He didn't see me as a woman at all when I was in the 7th grade. I don't know what changed that. And I don't care if she never believes me. You know, at this point, I'm 40. I'm 46. Is it 46? 46? Yeah, I'm 46 now. So does it really matter if they believe me anymore? Does it really matter if I stay quiet? Yes, it matters if I stay quiet, because I see my cousin Darren Peterson still touching, still having access to little girls. And that's in Memphis, Tennessee. He literally has a Facebook picture profile of a little girl and him together. And he raped Two of my cousins that I know are for sure, and he touched others, and we all know it. Why does he still have access to little girls? That's what's fucking my brain up. When I'm asking myself what's fucking my mind up, my mind's fucked by that. Because I can't do anything. I am not a powerful person in this universe, in this world, but in this dreaming. If I ain't got you now, motherfucker, I promise I'm coming. Because you can't keep hurting kids and thinking that you're going to get away with it and it's okay. Oh, God. So I'll do what I gotta do. In the dreaming, in real life, and whatever, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I will never, ever fail a child like I was failed by all of the people who were supposed to love me. Aunt Bessie, when my mom was in California, you knew she was a crack addict, right? Did you also know my dad was touching and molesting me and doing all that stuff then? If you didn't, you should have. But as an adult, I understand other things are going on in your life. I've been an adult now. I get it. I can understand why I was overlooked. I was overlooked by everybody. Because everybody had something else to do. And I was always last in line. And I was never the squeaky wheel when I was a child. I was never ever the squeaky wheel. I didn't complain. People say they knew I lived with them, but how? I was a ghost. You didn't feed me, Dorothy. You didn't feed me to the point where I left your house, I was a size 0. And then Linnell Golden made fun of me for being fat. When I first got up to a size 7, when I moved to Killeen, Texas, I'll never forget her. I'll never forget you, Linnell, snatching the rings off a child's finger, making your own daughter walk down the road at night. She, with her baby, you calling the police, you constantly taking her child from her. I don't even know if that's left trauma between her and her child. I don't even know if their relationship's ever gonna be right because of you, Linnell. Because I see now what interference from grandparents can do to a child-parent relationship, and I'll say you probably fucked up Earlene's relationship with her first son for the rest of his fucking life. And his daddy is named Lorenzo. Y'all don't think I remember shit. Y'all keep really acting like I don't remember everything, but I do. I remember Aaron jacking me up against that house. I remember Michael Wayne pulling him away from me. And Mutt, we were at a football game. The year after we graduated from high school. You remember that? Let me remind you. Football game. Black and gold dress. Woke up in a nasty, shitty motel next to you, Lonterio Osborne. Why am I granting you grace when you didn't grant me grace when you railed me while I was throwing up? Hey, the fact of the matter is, when a woman is drunk, that does not mean she consents. And the reason why you were able to get a hold to me is Tomeka Lewis. Tomeka Lewis, you're the reason why I got fucked over twice. And if you've had any trouble in your life, or any things in your life that feel accursed, or are you highly blessed and favored? I hope you highly blessed and favored. Because I want to take more from you than you did from me. I'll wait until you feel highly blessed and favored. Just like you, Vanessa. Lying to yourself. Telling yourself you did not take me out of school to get a pregnancy test. You and I both know that's a lie. Nelly, telling yourself, I never told you about my father. You're the one who brought it up the first time you saw that that baby's, it was, I don't know, maybe a child's, sock. No need to explain. But I explained that to you. Remember, Nelly, that you and CL put me into therapy. That you were also mad that my dad wasn't gonna pay for the therapy, and so you sent me home because he wouldn't pay for me to get therapy from the rapes that happened before you guys, and also the trauma you put me through. Yeah. I can be all cute on the phone all day long, but don't think that because I'm acting like I don't remember, I remember everything you ever said to me. I remember every move you ever made. And I know I made a promise, but promises sometimes will be broken, especially when hearts are. I am in a mood. But I have been in a mood for a minute. And I have every reason to be in the mood. Sheria Brooks. I called Lamont on the phone one night after getting drunk at a friend's house. Excuse me. Now, you notice I don't say friends much, right? I had 3 friends in high school. And they all know who the hell they are. So I never have to name them. 3 of them. Never got to name them 3 friends. I spent the night at both of their houses. And one of them I never spent the night at their house. But we still talk all the time. So I had 3 friends. I had lunch with them in high school. It was like, if you guys don't remember any of that, you don't remember me, and it's cool because I tried to be goals. But I only hung out with 3 people. The rest of y'all used to talk crap about me. Like, bad. Like, even my own cousin, Alicia Brooks, I remember sitting in gym one day. And people were going around trying to say, somebody said, I smell tail and mane. First of all, I didn't know what tail and mane was. Obviously, it's one of those good things you can use to grow your hair with. And then I was told, then they were like going around the room to say who has smelled tail and mane. And then I remember that Alicia pointed down at my head in the mirror because the gym had a fucking mirror. The gym had a mirror. So when you were pointing down at my head saying that my head stunk like tail and mane, I could see your finger in the mirror. That's why I lied to you about Carson. He never liked you, bitch. Anywho, you guys probably won't know any of that, but that's a personal insight thing. Yeah, I lied the whole time about Carson. I lied to you for so long about Carson simply because of how humiliated you made me feel over and over again at your personal whim, simply because you weren't the prettiest Brooks. I'm sorry you weren't the prettiest Brooks girl. I'm sorry that the Kim Kardashian lips didn't come in till later, where you're probably like great now. You're probably great. But during the time when we were children, you didn't like the way you looked. You didn't like the way you felt about yourself, and I could feel that vibe coming from you. And because you didn't like the way you look and you didn't like the way you felt, you wanted to get close to the popular girls. At the time, that was like, I think that was a Christy Goree and a couple other chicks there. But whoever you wanted to get close to at the time. And that's Samantha Wells. Samantha, because she was biracial and everybody had like a color fixation. And she had absolutely no personality. Probably still don't. Sorry. You can say what you want to say about me. We grown ass folks. But she didn't have no personality. But you guys were fixated on the fact that she had yellow skin. And so obviously, since she had biracial skin, she was far more better. And obviously a better class of people in your eyes. And so you guys were so fixated on getting the attention of those people in your lives that you were willing to step on anybody. No matter how broken, no matter how small, big, or whatever. Meanwhile, while Christy Goree was dating, I forgot that tall guy's name. I can't believe I forgot his name. She dated him in junior high. Oh, dude, I remember. I remember at some point. I always do. It always comes back to me. The thing is, the things that you think were not that important are important. Every step in your life. I'm sorry for anybody that I haven't said hey to or talked to. I haven't even looked at the part. I just see that somebody just told me, hey, hey back. I haven't looked at that or looked at that because I'm trying to like stay focused. It's very difficult for me to stay focused and talk. If anybody who's ever in my comments have anything to say about what I'm saying and they have a personal affiliation with this store, I am more than happy. You can call me. Ask me for my phone number in the comments. We can do this over the internet. We can do this over the phone. Jonathan Gibbs, Lamont Leary, Michael Black. Ooh, Jesus. Antonio Robinson. Oh, you don't want to talk about the Antonio and that's and he only got spoke on because it happened. It happened. And the reason why I don't talk to you like I used to is because that happened. And also, he gave me the clap. I was a 14, 15-year-old girl with the clap from your brother. It is what it is. Most people look at me and say, oh, she must have been asking for it between the ages of 8 months and I guess the first time I actually legally consented to a sexual experience was at 14 years old. But I wasn't horny between, well, you know what? I got horny when I was 3 years old. You know why? Because other people were touching me. And I got caught masturbating and then I got spanked for it. And that's because other people have been manipulating my body. And I wanted to see if I could make the same things happen to my body. If your children are drawing genitalia on their dolls, maybe you should be watching them closer than you are. Life is weird. Life is hard. And I'm not done roasting these folks. I'm just calming down because there is a roasted chicken dinner that needs to go back in the oven and some cream of mushroom. Not cream of mushroom, cream of chicken, green beans, fresh green beans that need to be taken care of with like a sprig of garlic. But it's definitely stuff. Rick, will you come put the chicken in the oven? Put it on a low broil. I used to think I was crazy. I used to make myself be quiet, be like, shh. Just like my abusers used to, shh. You don't want anybody to hear you. You don't want to make a fuss, do you? Then everybody will look at you. Then everybody will know that somehow you're a bad girl. Somehow you made all this happen. You made all those boys want to touch you. You made your uncle want to touch you. You made your daddy want to touch you when you were 8 months old. You made your mother want to shoot you in the head when you were 3 years old. You made your brother, not brothers, because my brother, said he was a lollipop and pop in the man to be licked over and over again. Because when I was a child, because maybe I wanted to, because we should blame the sexy children. Tell me, is your baby sexy? Because I sure didn't think I was. But then I never saw myself as a baby. Only once or twice before those pictures were taken away. Most of my past is a mystery. But I search, I find, and I see the people in my life who know. Like, I blame myself for any child molested by Darren Peterson or, oh, what is his name? Oh, I'll give you the other name soon. And Mr. Piggy, the only reason why I'm not saying your full name is because you only touch somebody who's around your same age. But I know a lot about you, and you still have crossed me in a way that was so major that I should be saying your whole name because you do like young gals. But I won't. What name I'm trying to remember that is very important to me is probably David. And I'm gonna give you guys his last name here soon. He lives in Memphis, Tennessee. I don't fuck around. When I'm giving you names, if you want an address or something, hey, anybody else, if you want to name an address, get at me. I give you name and addresses so you can know how to protect your kids. Every person that hurts a child isn't on a child registry. Everybody who hurts kids isn't registered as someone who hurts kids. You know why? Because back in the day, we didn't report it. Gropey Uncle Eric, or tongue touchy Uncle Thomas, or foot up the ass Harry. It didn't matter. We didn't tell. And so people still, like, we keep saying, like, okay, we're not gonna allow our kids around those kids people ever again. Okay, we did that. But what about the people who didn't know the information that we knew, that continue to allow their kids to be around these same people? What about those folks? You can't say they don't exist, because I see it. It's the same reason why Darren Peterson has a picture with a little girl in his photo who looks very distressed. It could be an old photo. It could be a new photo. What I do know is that he's a child molester. And he can come out here and, like I said, everybody know where I live. Somebody's already doxed me before. I'm not going to dox myself, but it's not that hard to find. And if you send me a message, I'll give you my address. Because death is just a new beginning. I'm not afraid of anything anymore, especially you. Why would I be? These feelings are the boogeymen that haunt all of our lives. They keep us from progressing. We get stuck in this programming, in this feeling of everything that happened to us. All the things that's happening to everybody else. All the pain and hurt being distributed around the world, and our impetus at feeling like we can't do anything about it. We can't do anything to fix it. We can, though. When was the last time you told about your creepy Uncle Eric, or Touchy Tim, or Sneaky Steve? And not just your children. When was the last time you told your whole family about that experience? Have you ensured the safety of your entire family? Or have you kept a secret for them to continue to go on? And then for their children to go on from what they learned from their parent. Because don't think it stops at the parent. If you don't stop the generational curse right there, they still molesting. And I can guarantee you that because I've seen it. So all of you right now who feel like you're doing a service to your family or to anyone by keeping quiet, by not sharing your experiences, you're not doing a service to anyone. What you're doing is hurting more children in the end. You're allowing access to children to people who shouldn't have access to children. And it's your fault now. Just like it's my fault that Darren Peterson and David, I'm going to remember his fucking last name in a minute. And it's my fault that they go on to continue to touch children. It's my fault. Because I should have been screaming this a long time ago. I should have raised the alarms a long time ago. But I was scared. I was scared of being ostracized from a family who doesn't provide me any financial support whatsoever. Or any support at all. Mental, financial, physical, whatever. They have really never been in my life. Other than when I was a child. And when they could have actually done something to actually do something. But they didn't. All of them had their own children. Or they had something else to do. We're the same generation. We all have our own children. There's something else to do. What I'm asking for, what I'm begging for is that we stop right fucking now. We stop just worrying about our own children and stop saying we have something else to do, because that's not a fucking excuse to watch that child with a head full of lights go into the goddamn school and not call anybody or do anything. There's no excuse. Not with the internet. If you feel like your voice won't be heard, get a tiny camera. Record it. As a child, I was an intelligent child. If I knew then what I knew now, if the technology was there, all you motherfuckers would be in jail that ever touched me. Every single one of you who ever disrupted the flow of my body and my soul would be in jail. I can tell you one man who I love dearly, who has never disrupted the flow of my soul, and he died a long time ago. His name was Leroy. His name was Leroy, and I'm not going to even say his last name, but I remember getting in trouble at his house, and I remember him spanking the pillow, because he spanked all the boys. He couldn't, but he didn't want to spank me, so he spanked the pillow. But he never looked at me weird. When I came in the kitchen to cook with him, he never looked at me weird. I love my Uncle Leroy so much. I didn't even get told when he passed away. I found out when I was older. People don't understand the bonds you form. I was his sous chef. He's the call. He was a professional chef. I'd be in the kitchen with him, and he made me feel so special. And not in a weird way. It's like he didn't have any little girls, and so he was so happy to have a little girl, and he treated me like a little princess. I honor him as a reverend ancestor, as I honor ancestors before him, and all that will come, because we're all a sum of our journey. I'm not asking you to be perfect. You cannot go back and change things you did in the past. I wish I could. I would have been a better mother. I wasn't even a mother to my children. In the midst of my DID, in the midst of my psychosis, from all the things that happened to me, it left my children in danger. And sure enough, the danger I left my children in was as perilous as the danger that I was in. And that's how the cycle repeats. My children were taken from me when they were very young. I think my daughter was maybe 6, my son was 4, but very young. I was addicted to cocaine. I did a lot of cocaine, and I sucked a lot of dicks for cocaine. This is Gigi. This is the 3-year-old. I hope I don't make you uncomfortable. But I'm the only person in the body that could possibly withstand any of the things that were happening, because I've been the one that was been standing the entire time. You see, when our father started putting his body inside of ours at 8 months, there was no way for anybody else in the body to comprehend what was happening to us, so I was there. I comprehended what was happening to us. I knew exactly what was happening to us, and I was able to relax our small frame, open our bones, and accept our fate. Because that was my job. I dated. I'm 3. I dated. I don't like to talk about the dating. It's okay. Guys, I think that you guys have gotten a big chunk of my soul tonight. And I've actually relieved a big chunk of my soul, and I haven't even finished it. You have no idea about that bathroom encounter with Sheria, how many times I go over it over and over in my head. Every time I think maybe I should have stabbed her with the pencil in my pocket, but my soul told me no. Like, run straight into her and just straight shiver in the chitty with the pencil in my pocket. Maybe I should have taken the lid off one of the toilets, broke it, and then bashed it over her head. Maybe I should have came back later in her sleep and met her in her bed because we lived in similar areas. That was the extent of the mental illness I had as a child. And I can tell you, I'm still waiting for my lick back. I'm still waiting for my lick back. I'm multifaceted. Sometimes you guys see a very sweet, pure, innocent soul who is capable of love and everything else and all that stuff. I tell you what, I'm capable, but I'm not willing. I want my lick back, Sheria. I want my lick back for when you made me abort my baby, piece by piece. You know what I mean? Your son was born, right? You had your son by Lamont. He was born and he was viable. He lived in this world perfectly fine and went on breathing perfectly fine. I can taste that bloodline. Now I want your bloodline. You've never asked me or never even considered what you did to me in the scheme of everything you did you? You didn't even know what you were doing. You just thought you were getting revenge over some stupid. It was Monte, and you can say it wasn't, but I always will know exactly why you got revenge on a small child incapable of defending themselves. It was over a boy who had no common sense and no hygiene. You're so small to me now that when I finally do meet your children and eat them, they will be a tiny meal and not the meal I expected. You see, you and Lamont thought it was so funny what you were getting away with Sabrina when you yelled bitch out the window when Lance immediately started kissing her neck and leaving kickies all over that child's neck so she can go back to Tyson at work and then be married. Yeah, she was already married then, guys. I'm sorry I couldn't catch you up. I'm talking to particular people who I know are here. You don't have to tell me. I know. And I know you'll hear it. Lance, your seed will grow to dust. It will prosper and it will expand, but the Leary name will die. The Leary name will die. It will be known as weather once again. Weary, little. It will be known as a body ache and not as a person. Your name is unwritten in the book of lives. Brooks. Brooks and streams are beautiful to Mata. But brooks can be contaminated and water can be broken. Depending on the side of the brook you stand on, you may not weather this storm. Depending on the side of the brooks you're standing on, you may not weather this storm. And if you're noticing, there's been a lot of death and storms in your lives. A lot of confusion and mixture in your lives. Because you mixed your life with a fucking primordial being who's strapped on this earth. And everybody wants to tame it. Everybody wants to tame what we are. In the end, we are nothing you can tame. And death is a freedom for me, not a constraint. I welcome it. I'm looking for it. And no, I'm not suicidal. Not even a little. I just welcome it. Because what are you going to do now to stop me? All the things you could do to that child's soul. All the things you could do to the little old me who didn't know how to even human. What are you going to do to me now? Right now, I'm getting ready to check out dinner. Oh, still some smokiness going on in there. Rick, will you come get dinner ready? I've been married for 16 years. Most people would think that's like weird. I don't say that often. I've been married for 16 years. That's 16 years of no rape. So, that's how I count up my marriage. Not in just love years. I count it up in no rape years. Nobody should count up their love in the years they have not been raped. And I said this one was going to be about Sheria Brooks and Tomeka Lewis. Tamika Lewis, I think you've heard everything you needed to hear. And if you're dead, God eat your soul. May the plants eat you and bury you alive. And may the ants and maggots have a feast upon your face and flesh until the plants are green and flourishing. And the water runs red with their blood in order to rinse out the iron and fertilize the earth. Because Tamika Lewis, just because Sabrina never told you she saw you, I've always seen you. And Tawana, Tawana Williams, and Dorothy, so-called Vivian, who's a Williams or whoever she is. I don't know what it is, but I don't really, I don't. I'm not gonna say that because that's real classist, not classist, but that's real fucked up. But in my life, I've been I'm taught not to trust people that have cock eyes or cross eyes. Shane Ghetto sold me out for sex trafficking. My first husband beat my ass, and who was the last person I was just talking about? Well, they all had cross eyes. That's why I don't remember them. If your eyes are crossed, you have a better way of getting away with shit with me than anybody else. But it's also now a alarm for me. Cross eyes means a person to me. And I know that's probably fucked up. You guys can say whatever it is, whatever. But I didn't see faces for years. For years, I went to where I'd fall in love or I'd meet people and we'd make friends. I could never describe your face to anybody. I never recognized anyone was cross-eyed until someone else pointed it out to me. That means I was married to my husband. I dated my husband, Aaron Golden, for years without knowing that he had crossed eyes. I can guarantee you, for everybody, the first time that I knew my husband was cross-eyed was the first time he took me to his grandma's house and she showed me a picture of him as a baby. And he wasn't cross-eyed, he was cock-eyed. His eyes were cocked. One of his eyes were cocked this way and one of them was straight, and he had surgery on it. I didn't realize cock-eyed was a thing until recently. So he wasn't just cross. So she showed me that picture, and that's when I realized my husband was cross-eyed. I loved him so much, I didn't even uncross his eyes. I was like, well, blessed Jesus. But that was me. I don't fall in love with a face. And so that's why I was with Aaron. I was with Aaron because I loved him and I thought he loved me. But I was a lot to love. That there's no reason why a 19-year-old man should go bald. I can recognize the amount of trauma I caused in that marriage. That man, whoever ended up with him, probably ended up with a good-ass black-white man. People call me like a white black woman. That dude loved fishing. That dude loved trucks. He could work on trucks. He could fish. He was smart. He was industrious. He was a great soldier. He was very southern and very different thinking than I was. But if you ended up with him as a husband, you ended up with a good man. I hope he still remained to be a good man. Even with all the things he did to me, I can also see my part. And there's no reason to ever stay with anyone who hits you or hurts you. None. But back in the day, when I was a kid growing up in the 90s, being drunk with your legs open was considered consent. And so, who am I to determine what a good or a bad man is? Now, we're almost on an hour. How's that chicken?
Good. I put it on a high broil.
Oh, yeah. That chicken's looking great. Those leeks are looking good. We're about to sit here and pull up and have a nice dinner. To Tamika Lewis, I hope you burn in hell. To Sheria Brooks, I hope your water runs dry. And to Mrs. Leary, Sister Leary, I hope that the next lifetime you become Brother Lear and all you remember is Sister Lear. And to all the boys, well, you have your own story coming up here soon, don't you? Don't you worry about it. I got you. Ito. Aseo.
Okay. That's raw.
That is?